Hey everyone, welcome back to MUFC versus everybody. As always, I am your host, Sean. I do appreciate you guys for stopping by. I know everyone's enjoying their Saturday, hopefully. I'm getting ready to sit down and watch a match. Livonia City Football Club representing tonight. They're taking on Lansing Common FC. They are away in Lansing tonight, making the trip out to play, I think, their second match of the season. Could be their first official match. I don't know if the other one was a friendly or not, but I know it's Lansing Common's first match. So if you are curious to hear about this semi-pro men's team that I'm always banging on about, I think there was a link on Lansing Common's Twitter page to the match. I think it's going to be streamed live on their YouTube channel. So go check it out. Go support Livonia City FC. And as always, up the Wheats. In any case, tonight I wanted to stop by before I went and hit that match, just to do a real quick roundup. I didn't want to wait till tomorrow after the match and try to squeeze in some of this news because some of it's pretty interesting. But not going to be a super long video tonight, but still wanted to go ahead and share my thoughts. So before we do get stuck in, please don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't forget to go check us out on Twitter, MUFC versus everybody. And let's get started real quick. So want to do a real big up first and foremost to Andre Onana. His save against Burnley was voted Premier League save of the month for April. I don't know if you guys remember that Burnley match or that moment. I know we all probably are trying to forget these last few matches, just trying to do a clean memory wipe, But to recap, so Burnley had a free kick in our half, kind of on our right side, their left. They put the ball in the box, right? It got into our area. We cleared it away. I think it was Wan-Bissaka cleared it away to the edge of the box. It wasn't a great clearance. It's like hockey. You don't want to clear it right out in front of the goal. So it fell to Cullen, a Burnley player, who hit it on the volley. And then as it was coming in, it kind of glanced off the head of another Burnley player, took a little bit deflection, kind of caught Onana wrong-footed, right? So Cullen hit it on the volley. Onana was going one way. All his weight, and this is why it's hard as a keeper. When you put a lot of your weight on one side, it's really difficult to then move over this way. You get no power when your weight is on one side and you've got to go over the other way because of a deflection. This is why I get so frustrated sometimes watching United, watching us try to pass around. Just take a shot. You don't know what's going to happen. Take a deflection. You get a rebound. Keeper might not see it. Just take a shot. We're trying too hard to get the perfect opportunity, but that's besides the point. But anyways, fell to Cullen, hit it on the volley, took a deflection off a header just a few yards off of the line, the goal line, and kind of went the other way a couple yards in a different direction. And Onana was able to get one hand to it though and stop it and put it out for a corner. So it was an excellent save. Onana makes a lot of saves. I think that he doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think some people are still too hung up on the Champions League performances from Onana. And fair enough. He was awful at the beginning of the season. And I think he's been guilty of a few howlers in recent weeks as well. Goalkeeper is one of those tough positions where there's not a whole lot of forgiveness, a whole lot of grace if you do make a mistake. If an attacker makes a mistake, it doesn't tend to be that noticeable because if the attacker loses the ball in the final third, there's still midfielders behind them, defenders behind them, and the keeper. If the keeper makes a mistake, it usually means a goal. You concede a goal. So it's a very high pressure, zero margin for error kind of position to play. And so that's why it's so important to be focused, to be switched on, to be vocal as a keeper. And I think that Onana, it's so funny to me. Everybody always gives these players so much time. They want to throw out phrases like Premier League proven as a way to give players time. And everyone always says, especially about their own players, hear it from Arsenal, Chelsea, City all the time. It takes a year for someone to get up to speed. No one wants to seem to give that to Onana though, and so he was up there for clean sheets in the league. Again, I don't really use clean sheets but the league does, so it is what it is. And now his save was voted save of the month for April for the Premier League, not just United. I don't do the whole United's player of the month, United's goal of the month crap. I try to stick with the Premier League stuff. And so with that in mind, you got to remember too that United have, aside from this being a save of the month, United have 4 Premier League goal of the months this season from 4 United players, and so we're kind of raking in the awards this season as far as that is concerned. So I know that one of those was Garnacho's goal against Everton, and that should be winning Puskás in my opinion, but we'll see how it goes. So big up Andre Onana, you're doing a good job. Obviously, it was a bit of a rough patch early on to kind of get used to the speed, get used to the teammates. Obviously, you've had a lot of different defenders in front of you. The system that we're playing without those defenders is not helping at all. He's faced a lot more shots. I do think he needs to drop some muscle, shed some of that extra muscle. He needs to get a little bit more flexible, a little bit more light on his feet, a little more agile and quick, especially when he's got to make saves or when he's got to come out to make a punch or claim a cross. So I do think, kind of like Lukaku, he could stand and drop some muscle weight. But hopefully we can take a look at that this summer, because he looks stiff as a board coming off his line sometimes. So moving on, we do have some unfortunate injury news regarding United players. Obviously, we spoke yesterday in our match preview. Luke Shaw's got a setback. Mason Mount got an injury in training. We've got some players coming back. But now it sounds like Donny van de Beek has picked up an Achilles injury that will pretty much mean his season is done. So obviously he's been on loan at Eintracht Frankfurt. Hasn't featured a whole lot, which I don't read too much into. Loanees tend not to feature a ton, and emergency signings tend not to feature a ton. I mean, how many minutes has Matheus Nunes had since he's joined City? I think Amrabat has actually been playing better than Matheus Nunes, but nobody wants to talk about Matheus Nunes because honestly, probably everybody forgot about him. But in any case, it's not been going great for Donny since he joined United. I don't blame him altogether. He's not been as bad as people like to make out. And I'm not going to point fingers at anybody. It's just, it hasn't worked out. It's time for him to move on for his own good. Like I've said before, when I was writing for Strutty News, my first piece was on Donny van de Beek, and this was last year. And my whole thing was, it's time for his own good. It's time for him to move on. And he does. He's a good player. I think he would do really well in Spain, in Germany. I think, like I've said before in my my striker videos that I looked at, a striker that I was thinking that United should probably look at is Chuba Akpom. He's at Ajax. He only joined Ajax this past summer. He's recently started featuring more and scoring some goals. Last year, he was up there in the championship for like top goal scorer. He and Victor Gyökeres were lighting it up last year in the championship. Obviously, Akpom was with Middlesbrough. Gyökeres was with Coventry City. I think a straight swap. Let's send Donny back home to Ajax. Let's bring in Chuba Akpom, and maybe we could even throw Wheatley in on loan at Ajax too to soften that blow a little bit. But in any case, Donny's gone back to the Netherlands for treatment for his Achilles. Let's all wish him a speedy recovery, and let's see what the summer has in store for him, because his season is done officially. So we've got some news here, some interesting news here from Simon Mullock with the Mirror. I'm not sure what to make of this. Maybe you guys can help me out here. So Simon Mullock is reporting that even if Erik ten Hag is sacked, Steve McLaren is going to be remaining at the club in a coaching capacity. So Mullock continues to say, McLaren has had a long-standing professional relationship with Ineos chief Sir Dave Brailsford. Obviously, Steve McLaren has a long history with Manchester United. It's not his first stint as a coach here. He's regarded as someone who Ineos can continue to work with underneath any new manager. So they see him as just an integral part of the management staff. It's interesting. What is that? What do you think that means about Ten Hag and the status of his role? If McLaren is kind of a constant, because usually manager wants his staff, and Ten Hag picked McLaren. But it sounds like even if Ten Hag were sacked, let's say Tuchel came in, Ineos and Sir Dave Brailsford would push for McLaren to stick around. What if Tuchel doesn't? If hypothetically, what if Tuchel didn't want McLaren on the coaching staff? What if Tuchel's got his own coaches? What if Ruber Amorim comes in and he's got his own coaching staff, doesn't want McLaren? Would McLaren take a lower role with like the Rezzies or in some other capacity. I don't know. It's a really interesting story. So continuing, it says Steve McLaren is seen as a safe pair of hands, and it was even mooted that he could replace Erik ten Hag as manager for the final games of the season until Sir Jim Ratcliffe decided to stick with ten Hag with the FA Cup final looming in a few weeks. And so it's a very interesting story. It's one of those really random stories. And I mean, I can't think of how often we've heard something like that. It's interesting. So keep an eye on it. Obviously, Ten Hag's future has been a topic of conversation over the last several months, really throughout the entire season. I've spoken about it. I did that series on managers that we've been heavily linked with and took a really close look at the managers, their tactics, their history, their style, ranked them all on some criteria that I came up with. If you haven't watched those videos, go ahead and give them a look. They're pretty cool. There's a lot in there about Thomas Tuchel that I think a lot of people would find interesting. A lot in there about Graham Potter that I think a lot of people would find interesting. Go check those videos out. Don't forget to hit the like button if you do. And leave a comment on each one if you watch them to let me know your thoughts. If you have any questions, if you'd like to learn more, if you disagree with anything I've said, I'd love to hear feedback. Just because I say something doesn't mean it's gospel, right? It's just an opinion, or in cases like the Roundup, I'm reading what the news is coming out with. I try to sift through the BS, not the stuff that's just according to sources or ESPN understands. I try to look through the legitimate sources and get through some, the nitty gritty, so you guys don't have to do all that legwork yourselves. I'm taking one for the team there. In any case, Steve McLaren sounds like he's really well thought of at United by, he has that relationship with Sir Dave. And obviously he has a long-standing history with the club. It seems like the players respond really well to him as well. Remember reading some stories throughout the season that he's well liked and well thought of as well. So, and obviously Ten Hag, picked him, handpicked him to join the coaching staff along with Mitchell van der Gaag. So Ten Hag must see something in him. So it's funny to me how people will say Ten Hag's an idiot, but then everyone likes McLaren. McLaren does a good job, Sir Dave, but Ten Hag also picked him. So people want to pick and choose. Remember it was like Ollie. Ollie got all these other decisions wrong, but then somehow he got the Donny van de Beek decision right. It just doesn't make sense. And that's how you spot an agenda. So went off on a little tangent there. Don't worry, indulge me. We have a little bit of Groundhog's Day rumors going on. No, it's not Wesley Sneijder. No, it's not Nico Gaitan. It is Frankie de Jong. You remember that? It's like I'm in a time loop, right? We're back in a year ago. We're back 2 years ago. It's just the same thing over and over again. So this is coming from Mundo Deportivo. They're reporting that Erik ten Hag is planning to return for Frankie de Jong this summer if Ten Hag is still Manchester United manager. Obviously, we need a player who can serve as a conduit between defense and the attack. We don't move the ball very well along the ground in midfield. We lose a lot of possession in that delicate. Our midfield is absent, and while Onana is comfortable with the ball at his feet, that unless we have our full fit defense, we don't look comfortable and we cause ourselves problems. Harry Maguire's constantly caught on the ball. We constantly in the recent weeks have seen Casemiro, Wan-Bissaka, Eriksen, these guys trying to play these little triangles in our own third, and it's just you can tell when you can tell it's not working and they're not comfortable with it, because the passes start to get faster and they start to not be on the ground as much. They start getting a lot of people start chesting it and having to control it, and then the opposition is kind of closing in and pressing, and it just increases the pressure, and then we cause problems for ourselves. We need someone who can carry the ball, someone who can pick a pass, someone who's press resistant. I watched Nicholas Seiwald today at Leipzig. He looks really good. Obviously, people talk about Bjorn Holman. João Neves is another one. Zubamendi is another one that people like. I like Frankie de Jong. I am one of the people who thought that, again, because we're never going to know. Rivals will say, well, he rejected you when we came in for him. Barcelona owe a lot of people a lot of money, and Frankie de Jong is one of those people. He had, what was it, like 17, 18 million in deferred wages that he was still owed from Barcelona. We know Barcelona has really weird loyalty bonuses written into their contracts and things. Obviously, that was a big source of controversy with Neymar when he went to PSG. So obviously De Jong is not going to come out and say anything to disparage the club or let on that he wants to leave or anything like that, because that could put that loyalty bonus at risk. And honestly, would anybody leave a job if they're owed a ton of money and they're not going to get it if they leave? Probably not. And so I do think that Frankie de Jong is at Barcelona because they owe him money. I'm not going to pretend that he doesn't want to play for Barcelona. A lot of Dutch players want to play for Barcelona. Obviously, Johan Cruyff, Ronald Koeman, those guys had a big part in making Barcelona what it is. And it's a dream for a lot of Dutch players to play for Barcelona. I think that all other things being equal, Frankie de Jong would stay. But Barcelona need money. Barcelona need to sell players, and the Barcelona have a lot of young midfielders coming through their academy, and they have in the last couple of years. And so it seems more likely than ever now that Frankie de Jong could actually be sold. What that means, legitimately wise, we'll see. So Barcelona also have other couple players that have been heavily linked with moves away to raise funds, like Ronald Araujo we've talked about. Rafinha is another one that could be leaving. Problem too is now Arsenal have been heavily linked with Frankie de Jong. Obviously, Thomas Partey looks like he might be leaving. They just bought Declan Rice this last summer for like 100 million. He's class. They already have Odegaard, so maybe de Jong could help. I know Arsenal were also linked with Zubamendi for a little while. It's going to be interesting. I don't know why Liverpool are linked with a lot of midfielders. Liverpool just buy like 117 midfielders this summer. Like, it's interesting. But in any case, the rumored price tag that Barcelona have put on Frankie de Jong is 80 million euros. We will see. I'm sure you can do that for less. Obviously, Barcelona aren't going to want to sell a ton of players. They probably want to sell one player and get as much as they can and use that to rebuild, because they do need strength. And I think they are going to need a striker. And we'll see how it goes. But it's one of those things. I'm surprised, we're not linked again with Griezmann, any of these other guys. I don't think de Jong's going to come to United, especially if we're not in Europe. I would like us to maybe start trying to scout a little better and get a couple players for the same price of one de Jong, but class players like a Mats Pfeiffer, for instance, could be a good pick, or a Ugarte at PSG. Obviously, they're not, he's not a playmaker, but we do need some bite in that midfield with Casemiro potentially leaving. I think Mainu and then the Ugarte pivot could be very effective. So keep an eye on this one. Of course, I wouldn't put too much stock in it and take it with a big old healthy pinch of salt. Finally, we have a player who might be leaving. So this is coming from Talk Sport. They're claiming that Victor Lindelof is first on the chopping block when it comes to players United are looking to sell right now. We have a lot of defenders that are rumored to be leaving. I know we were open to Harry Maguire being sold last summer, but he's on a lot of wages, and a lot of clubs can't afford that, especially the kind of clubs that he would really be a good fit. I know West Ham were heavily linked with him. West Ham can't afford what we're paying Harry Maguire. Varane probably going to be walking out the door for free this summer. And now Lindelof sounds like he could be moved on to, as we look to kind of overhaul our defense. We need, really, if I had to choose one of those three to stay, like I've said, I would keep Maguire and let the other two go, because it's a big chunk of change. If you're going to sell all three, or if all three are going to move on, we need at least two defenders coming in, and we'll probably need to keep Johnny Evans for another season, because Cambuala I don't think is ready yet, and we don't really have anybody else. Adar Bioyo is free this summer. He's not renewing his contract at Fulham. He's a Manchester guy, 25, 26. Good quality third choice center back. Bring him in, and let's strengthen with like a Todibo as well for like 40 million. 40 million gets you two first team quality center backs. Plus we've got Licha, Cambuala, and then Johnny Evans. I think that's totally fine, honestly, heading into the new season. We need left back, we need a striker, and we need a midfielder as well. So that does a good job in my plan. Lindelof is entering the final year of his contract this summer too. Doesn't look like we're going to be renewing that. And so getting something for him rather than letting him walk out the door for free sounds like that is the plan, which is a nice change of pace, honestly. I know we're all really tired of United renewing on players like Phil Jones and Anthony Martial because they for some reason think that the value is going to maintain or even go up. Like, these are the people who make the most important decisions at our club, mind you, we're doing these things. These are guys who profess to be good businessmen as well, who make the worst business decisions I've ever seen. So we've already let guys like Martial going to walk out for free, Varane probably going to walk out for free, and Herrera left for free. Paul Pogba went left for free twice. We let him go, brought him back for a record, and let him go again for free. This is, I think at this point, we're like United just trolling. Like, at this point, this is embarrassing. But yeah, we're not going to make our money back on Lindelof. We're not going to make our money back on a lot of players, and that's fine. We just need to get something for them, because it's going to go in the new kitty for the new man, the new owners, the new budget. And even just people who are leaving for free, like Martial and Varane, that's a big chunk of change off the wage bill, and that the wages for the year is a big chunk of change to put back into the budget for transfers. And so it all makes a difference. It may seem like a drop in the ocean in and of themselves, but collectively it's a big help. It makes a big impact. And so let's hope we get these things going. I like Lindelof. I don't have a problem with Lindelof as a person. He's just not cut out for this league. He's not quite fast enough. He's not quite strong enough. He's not really good aerially. And he's just kind of there. He can do the simple things when there's not a whole lot of just physical kind of confrontation in a given play. But other than that, I mean, it is what it is. I know I remember a time people were saying playing defensive midfield, because I think that's where he's got to start when he was younger. But he needs, I mean, honestly, send him back to Benfica in a part exchange for João Neves if you want to. See what you can do. But it's going to pretty much wrap it up. Although I did see today that Rafa at Benfica is going to be entering free agency. Remember, I mentioned Rafa as in my striker, my wild card videos, as coming up to be a free agent. I know we've been looking for. Rumors say we're looking for an experienced attacker. I think that he would be a good fit. What is he, 29, 30 now? He could come in, still offer us something up front, a little experience, something for Rasmus Højlund to learn from. He's a similar profile to Højlund, a little bit more mobile, a little more good with his feet. And so I think that could be a good, shrewd piece of business, bringing in Rafa for free, Adarbi Oyo for free, Rabiot for free, 3 free signings. Now, I know no such thing as a free signing. Like I say, there's going to be bonuses and then your wages, but at the same time, not having to pay a transfer fee is good. So you can get 3 free signings that honestly, that elevate the quality of your squad, the depth of your squad, that raise the floor, and also, free up funds to really focus on some of those signings with a little more stardust to them. So it's going to be a big, important summer. I think we all know that. Got Ashworth still yet to come in. Ten Hag's future's up in the air at the moment. And then we have a lot of priority positions, and we have to move out a lot of the deadwood. And I don't like that term as much, because it just sounds like, players are crap. They're not crap. It's time to move them on, or they're just not a good fit. So in any case, that is going to do it for us today. I told you it was going to be a short one. We still managed to stretch it to about 25 minutes almost. So if you guys haven't yet, go like the video, please. It really helps me out, really makes me feel good on this kind of cold and rainy Saturday. Gives me a boost as I head out to go watch Livonia City tonight on YouTube, because I'm not driving to Lansing. It's about an hour and a half from me, so not happening. But go check them out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, please. If you're new, I'd love to see those subscriber count get up higher. I would love to give something back to you guys if we get to a certain amount of subscribers. What do you think? Maybe if we get to like 50 subscribers before the January transfer window slams shut, I will thank you guys. I will do a giveaway. How's that sound? I will give a shirt to a random subscriber in that giveaway. So we'll keep an eye on that subscriber count. We'll watch that closely. And when we get 50, I'll do on whatever video that is, I'll have you guys, hit the comments, and I'll pick a random comment, and then that person will get a shirt of their choosing, and I will ship it to you for free. So, I really want to be able to give back. I like to see the community grow. I like you guys to get involved, and that's my way of maybe, yeah, bribing, but at the same time, it's showing my appreciation and my thanks. So keep that in mind. Like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, go check me out, MUFC versus everybody on Twitter, and I will see you guys tomorrow after the Arsenal match. Results today didn't go the way we wanted to. I thought Chelsea maybe were going to bottle it, but then they seem to come back somehow like they always do, and it's a bummer. But Newcastle and Brighton kind of worked out well for us too. Well, I thought West Ham were going down as well, man. I don't like relying on other teams to lose, but it is what it is. So we need points. I don't think we're going to get them tomorrow, but we need some points because I really want us to get European football. I don't care what that looks like. Let's just get it. So thank you guys for stopping by. I will see you guys tomorrow, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. I'll talk to you later. Bye.